All right. Thanks for listening while we take that short break here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. And yeah, we're going to get back to your host.
Hello and welcome to Plato's Cave, coming to you from Australia for Revolution Radio on the revolution.radio. I remember when those domains came online. Brilliant stuff. Home to ideas. Dangerous things. Don't let them escape. Stay in the box. Stay in the box. Important announcement. The station does not receive any funding from anyone but you, the listener. Which means we can say pretty much anything we like. Well, within reason, naturally. But it also means that you, please donate to the station. Or if you cannot donate, and that is exceedingly likely these days, tell people about the station until we find someone who can donate, that is. So any kind of currency is good, including crypto. If you've got Bitcoin, you are sitting pretty, that's for sure. Today is the 12th of December, the 12th day of Christmas, my true love brought to me. Oh my God, I can't believe we're halfway to Christmas, like 12 days into it. Yeah, 2024, December 12th. We only have roughly 19 days left in this year, and then it's clicking over to 25. Time she flies. You can catch the cave on the air, on the line all the time, and on your smart device. You grab it out to listen anywhere, or listen at home on the greatest tabletop digital radio, whoa. Don't need fancy text. We can do it all with voice talent. But you know what? Archives are free. So why don't you come on into the, into the shop? I was going to say, why don't you come on into the shop and have a look at our archives? Just get in there. Go on. And it's free. So that's really good. Before we start broadcasting at you in anger, and we'll talk about this particular thing in a second, we would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land from which we broadcast. And for Dave.
It's the Duck and John.
For myself, of course, here, it's the Direct people. And with her respects to elders past, present, and future. Did you know, Dave, that there are 4 councils in New South Wales who have abolished the welcoming to country?
Yes, I saw the stories.
And Dutton is quite keen on, well, I guess doing away with all of it. Again, I honestly, I thought it's not a bad thing. I think it's a nice thing to acknowledge something. It doesn't divide us. It just, speaks to a longer past than just 200 years. I thought it was a nice reminder.
Yeah.
But I just didn't think it was divisive. I really did not think so, right? But clearly it must be, because he's going to take the flags away. He's going to, probably the welcoming to country away. He's quite reactionary, I'll be honest. And I had a few conversations with a few people. They said that might have been a stroke of genius. He may just win the election on that sentiment. You know why? Because The Voice had a 70% rejection
disapproval rating. Yeah.
Yeah. So the vast silent majority, maybe that's exactly what they want. Do you know what I mean? Maybe that's exactly what they're looking for. To do away with all of that feels uncomfortable and I don't want to think too deeply, etc., etc. And if we don't have it, then it's like it never existed. Sweet. So, I don't know. I honestly don't know. It seems odd though, right? I don't know. Doesn't it?
Oh, well, I think they've just had a committee meeting and, maybe blue sky meeting and decided, well, what can we do to win the election? Now, the CSIRO has issued a report saying that nuclear is too expensive.
Yeah.
Now, I think that's... Well, what's funny about that is the data they're using for it, while everyone is saying it's been debunked, is the old-fashioned, supermassive, huge, that's the same thing, nuclear reactors with the 90-foot deep pool, right, and everything in it, and all the safety and everything has to go around it, and that's good. That's good. But we're not in the 70s building one from scratch. Yeah, anyone we employ to build such a thing is going to rip the government off, probably run 40% commission. Who cares? I don't really care.
We have not actually.
No one's talking about the pink uranium small modular reactors that you barely even need water for to make work, and they can't melt down. No one's talking about those. Dutton is. I mean, I am, because I found the guy talking about those guys on the internet, and I've mentioned it to the senators, because I can't help myself, to try and get people discussing it. But they don't go out, our politicians don't mention them. Just have a 90,000 foot view of just the topic name, because that's all you can see from space is nuclear power. Are you sure
you're talking about the pink hydrogen?
No, not pink hydrogen. No, pink uranium. It's a not red uranium. You're very hard to find, Becky. I had to bury myself in the internet to find it. But it is ceramic coated balls of plutonium or uranium. Let's call it uranium, and they sit far enough apart that they can't go into meltdown.
Where is there a pink uranium reactor?
They've made them. They've made them. It's the same. It's the same kind of fringe technology.
But where is it? Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but where is one?
Oh, okay. Well, it's in Europe, I think. That's from what I understand. That's where the company is that created them.
I can't find anything on it at all. Zero.
No, you won't. The internet's cleansed of it, but it does exist. And they're just a little bit bigger than a container. So maybe say 4 containers worth 80-foot containers, and that's pretty much the size of the thing. It's you could power a mine from it. It produces so much power. It's really quite a good thing. It's not imaginary.
Can you send me the links?
I'll promise to. Right. So this is the thing that when he was talking about small modular ones, that's what he's talking about. Except he doesn't. Dutton himself doesn't provide any details on it. The CSIRO, backed by our left over here, because the right nearly defunded them into non-existence in the last time around. So I think this whole argument is completely ridiculous. If you're let's put it this way. Sure, expensive. Who cares? Who cares if you're trying to cut down carbon emissions? If your goal is to only cut down carbon emissions, then is the expense put aside? Who cares, right? It's the same as I want to drive a Tesla, and you have to put the expense of it to the side. Has anyone looked down the road 10 years to see what happens with the vehicle? No. It's all about now. My facetious talk about this trying to remove carbon comes at the same thing, Meki, when I'm talking about you can pull carbon from the atmosphere and make your own natural gas at home. It's completely possible.
Sorry, Dave. Now I'm all for bringing news to our listeners, but I'm using Tor browser, and Tor doesn't have any restrictions, so it goes anywhere it wants.
No, I have DuckDuckGo as well,
including the dark web.
Sure.
And there's no pink uranium, pink hydrogen. Yes.
No, I know that's right. So I promise to you I will supply those links to you, but not right now. So anyway, so because the race to be carbon neutral, I can only imagine that this will be with all ignorance to cost. I bet people will ignore the cost, despite the CSIRO throwing the numbers around. Who cares? I don't really care. I'm not the one spending the money. I don't have to approve it, and I'm only playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah, the problem is not the cost, though. I mean, it's expensive, but anything's expensive. I mean, going from where we are today, gas and oil, which are relatively cheap, coal as well. I mean, it's there, you just dig it up. That's pretty easy stuff. You dig it up, you burn it. Everything else requires a lot of effort. You have to build solar panels, you have to build wind power, you have to build turbines. Right? We already have the stuff that burns stuff. And for nuclear power plants, you have to build them as well. You have to build this, you have to build that. So it'll cost no matter what. I think the issue is that it will take too long. That's what people are saying. It will take too long to build.
It's already going to take too long. They should have done it 30 years ago. But that doesn't matter.
Yeah, but see, this is a whole different world. 30 years ago, Australia, I think, declared itself a nuclear-free zone. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was in Europe when Chernobyl blew up, right? I was actually there, and my aunt she was very close to it in Poland, and it all drifted across. And I think that's what finally, triggered the cancer in my mum as well, the radiation from the Chernobyl plant. And I think the problem is that we are not clever enough to make it safe or safe enough. The thing is, nothing might go wrong. So, there's only really ever been 3 bad accidents, right? Really only 3. There's Chernobyl, 3 Mile Island, and then there was the Fukushima. And that was this tidal wave thing, though. That's it. Of all the nuclear reactors in the world, only 3 had an issue, to your point. So it's not as safe as houses, but it's pretty safe. But when it does go wrong, it goes wrong very badly. Right? That's the issue. Whereas if a coal-fired plant blows up, who cares? If a solar panel, installation blows up, nobody cares. So there are certain considerations we have to make. And Fukushima, the technology to clean it up still doesn't exist. They said, in 30 years' time, we'll have the technology to clean that up. So good luck to you.
There was no money in it.
And the tech doesn't exist. We don't have the technology to actually clean it up. I looked at it in some detail, and it's just they just blocked it off. They just concreted all of it, and they're hoping not too much of the radioactive water escapes, which it does, and it's hitting it's hitting the west coast, in case you're wondering, and that's where you're finding all these tentacled fish with 3 eyes.
So what they had been doing is bottling or putting into tanks all the radioactive water to prevent the meltdowns. And then they've decided, it's safe enough if we just let it out into the ocean. Sure, they have some controls, and sure, they're trying to cleanse it as much as possible, but it still has all the heavy elements in it, and it's still bad, and it's just because they ran out of storage.
Well, it's look, and ultimately they had this. Remember the one guy, the Japanese politician, he was asked to drink a glass of water?
That's right. He goes, nah.
It's
totally safe.
I'm not thirsty, but you can drink it. But I'm not thirsty. See, if I were thirsty, I'd drink it. But since I'm not thirsty, I'm not going to drink it, right?
And wasn't that the same
conversation that
as the guy that he worked at the company that provides the Zero, the weed killer?
Yeah.
And he said it's totally safe for humans. And then the guy slid a glass of it across, and he goes, "I'm not an idiot."
Yeah, but it reminds me a bit of this argument Seinfeld had with Kramer. Kramer and Seinfeld make a bet, and so Kramer says, "I will do this. I will put these floorboards down. There'll be levels in my apartment. I'll do it."
Oh, levels, Jerry.
And Jerry goes, "You're not going to do it." And Kramer goes, "Yeah, I'll do it." I said, "Okay, let's make a bet." All right, let's make a bet. Whatever they bet, $100, I don't know, whatever. And then a couple of days later, Kramer goes, "The bet is off." And Jerry goes, "What do you mean?" "I'm not doing it." No, that's the bet. That's the bet. See, that's the bet. The bet you made is that you're not going to do it. No, but I'm not doing it. See, so the bet is off. It's gold, and that's the same kind of logic that these people use, right? It's no. I'm not thirsty right now. No, I'm not. I mean, you can have it. It's good for you, but for me, it's not. It's not a thing that I want to do. It's hair-raisingly insane. No, but I do want to know about the pink uranium because I've never heard of it. Tokamaks, yes, I've heard of the German reactors as well. They're using, and I forget what the element is, but
Thorium.
it's thorium. That's a really. In fact, they started using it as well. There are two reactors. One is private. We found it in the States, and it's a really small one, and they're using thorium. And there's a massive one in Europe. It's by the European Union, and all the countries are getting together, and it looks like the privately funded one is going to get there first. So those are things that are feasible in 15 to 20 years time. But in the meantime, you have to think of a nuclear power plant, everybody, as a steam engine. That's all it is. It's just a steam engine. There's nothing amazing. If we had fusion, right, fusion is a whole different thing, right? But fission, all you're doing when you're splitting the nuclear material, when you're reacting, is all you're doing is you superheating the water with the uranium or whatever else is in there to produce steam, and that runs the turbines. That's a nuclear power plant. It's not really great science. It's James Watt's 1780s science. We just had to have a really powerful heating mechanism, which is these nuclear fuel rods. Everybody thinks that we use this uranium and we put it into machines, right? And then the machine somehow runs off the uranium. I think that's what people think in their mind, right? It's not at all. That's not what happens. They put the rods in the water and they superheat the water. That's why you've got these massive chimneys. And what comes out of it is water vapor. It's completely clean. This is not some kind of carbon exhaust. It's water vapor out of these massive chimneys that you see. So we haven't really progressed in the last 400 years. Either we're burning stuff that you can dig up, or we have a little steam engine to make our stuff go.
Oh, that's so cute.
That's where we are. But the tokamak that is becoming a fast reality. They're looking at fusion, and that would be brilliant.
Oh, wouldn't
if we could somehow get into fusion, and because that would be clean. There is no radioactive waste product that you have to get rid of. The energy that is released is its magnitude is higher than fission. That would be a game changer for our energy consumption. But look, none of that is going to save us in the short term for the enormous amounts of energy that AI is going to consume. It's not even a thing. There'll be shortages in the electricity grids. There'll be shortages across the world. There will be brownouts, rolling brownouts and blackouts, and there'll be times for consumption for people. Let's say 9 to 3 during the day, and then for the rest of the time, this is all AI. It's all AI. I can't have it. No. But I want to watch TV at night. No TV for you. So I can see that coming. I can see when we're going to hit these energy constrictions, because any time that industry or corporations have come in conflict with the public interest, guess who wins? The corporations, not the people.
Not the people.
Water, food, irrigation. I mean, anything. It doesn't matter what it is. Monsanto, perfect example. Monsanto is a massive conglomerate, and they have these, GM crops and whatnot. And there was a guy, and you know the case. There was a guy next to a Monsanto farm, and he didn't want any GM seeds. He didn't want it. He just didn't want to have it, right? So he had his own little crop, but Monsanto came over and said, "Oh, you're stealing our patents." He goes, "What do you mean?" Well, your plants, were they've got our genetic material in them. So the wind had blown over clearly some pollen or some spores or whatever. Had to pollinated his fields with their crop, and he didn't want it. It was an accident of nature, I guess.
A portable microreactor that can replace.
And still, Monsanto won the case. You can't win against big money. It's not possible. That's the world we live in, and that's why it will come crumbling down all around our ears soon enough. Because nobody lives like this. People don't live like this. We can't live like this. And I still can't find pink uranium. I can find pink uranium glass, which is what happened in Chernobyl.
I know. Don't hurt yourself, because I've got it in my history.
No.
So I will share it with you.
If we talk about it, then we're gonna have something. To talk about.
Anyway, we will.
Pink hydrogen. That's coming up a lot. Pink hydrogen is coming up a bucket.
Yeah. So, I wanted to talk about the drones. Because all the talk around the world is about the drones over New York and New Jersey. And, I've had some pretty good discussions. One of my neighbours thought Venus was a drone, but it was Venus. Yes, Venus is extremely bright at the moment. Our atmosphere is, there's less of it. Let's just say that. So, there it was, in exactly the place that Venus would be. And my star map app identified it correctly. But one thing was really bizarre, is that my star map app, when I pointed directly due west, because my house sits east, west, north, south, and due west, and the star maps was showing that I was pointing south, and the stars were wrong. And so, no, pointing north. And so I pointed south, so with the 90 degrees that was out would then become apparent, and there it was fine. And I thought that was really weird, and obviously I've done a calibration wrong or something, who knows. But so my friend, without using star maps, was using another thing, and I'd misidentified something in the sky. Now, that's good. I appreciate, seeing something and giving me a call straight away. That's really good. However, the thing, Meki, that I've noticed about how the media is expressing these drones, the wording they're using, and then that the secretary lady part of the government, not the one that we normally see as the press secretary for the military, but rather, that's a terrible shot. I should pause it nicely. I've got that for anyone watching this on our stream. And Sabrina Singh, her name is, and Deputy Pentagon Press Secretary she is. Now, she said that the intel is that they don't have enough to warrant them being a threat. So they're not a threat, these drones. SUV-sized drones flying around in the sky. Planes are calling it in and saying, well, they were kind of right up near us, and then they went back over the ocean again, and then a short time later they came right up to us, and we had to avoid them by steering out of the way. That's an aircraft worried about a possible collision, and the control towers are saying, oh, you know what, just do what you need to do. It's all good. But so since they've said that this is the official statement from the White House, or the Pentagon press secretary, she says that they're not Iranian. There's no mothership off the coast of California where they all land. They are coming out of the ocean, and they're flying over places for in one instance 17 days straight. They flew and hovered and just milled about doing what they do, whatever they're doing it now, right? Looking up at a light moving around. But they're pretty large, and they acted in swarm fashion, and then disappeared. So, since the Pentagon press secretary says, well, they're not a threat, that's probably why we shouldn't shoot them down. The guy from the military, from the Pentagon himself, said, well, we don't have the budget. This was in the Senate inquiry today, because they're talking about it. We've only got $500,000 to defend ourselves against drones, and we can't be everywhere, he says. So, to me, I'm gonna make a crazy call here. It's crazy. I know it's crazy. But is this, and I've had a conversation with some friends about this, and is it possible that it is it's Earth human made, and that it's just like military contractors not commercially available stuff, because they've denied everyone using those phrases. They go, oh, they're not commercially available drones. These are, you can't buy them. There's no one making them. Maybe these are like black budget devices, and everyone's testing their equipment. And maybe if they find one that you can't see on radar and that can stay in the air the longest or whatever, it's going to get a military contract. Could you imagine if that was the case? If this whole thing it's blown out of proportion because people are calling him in. And ultimately, is it possible that it's because if you have drones that turn up over your military bases and your nuclear power or nuclear defensive systems, and you can't do anything about it, then wouldn't you be shooting them down? It's the fact that they're not shooting them down because they've got lasers and things they can do. So is the reason why they're not shooting down because they know someone up in the brass above knows that, oh, we're not going to use any weapons against them. Just monitor them, because these are contractor built, like Raytheon or whoever, right? BAE. I don't care who you are. Is that possible? And I'm throwing it over you in the studio, Mickey.
I think the answer is yes. And I think it plays into the larger charade. Because this, again, remember, this is Plato's cave, everybody. And we're just watching the shadows on the wall. None of it is real anyway, right? But there are deceptions within these lies as well, which is interesting. And what this reminds me most of?
What's that?
Is the MyLabs. That's what it reminds me most of. The intentional obfuscation of the truth, or if not intentional, it's intentional, but if not obfuscation, at least allowing people to think something that is not. Being abducted by aliens. Yeah, that's right. That's what happened. No. It was the government that did it. So look, when it comes to assigning ultimate responsibility or understanding who is behind anything these days, honestly, I think that's completely impossible. I think there's so many layers of deception. There's so much nonsense that's generated in the world, and there's so many agendas at play. It seems that I honestly don't think that there's a single entity, group, person that has the complete overview of it all. I really don't think so. I think the confusion is universal. I really believe that. So certain things will happen over here, and then something else will happen over there. They're not related, but they seem to be related. But are they related? They could be related, but they're probably not related. But maybe they are. Right? I'm just channeling Vince Vaughn there. But it's really, and all you get in the news is surface, right? You get nothing. There's no one's asking any questions. No one is just wondering. No one is just okay. This is what happened, and that's what you should think. That's what they tell you. This is what you should think about what just happened. Oh, okay. Think. Ooh, I feel so much better now. So I don't have to worry about anything. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just astounded by, slightly off topic here, how quickly things are moving, and it's really interesting. Holy cow! That Syria finds itself the target of Israeli airstrikes. And at the same time, Benjamin Netanyahu says, I want really good relations with Syria. It's like the bully is just saying, oh, I love you, hug you, while he punches you in the face to get your lunch money. It's nuts. Hey, did you hear how many pardons and commuted sentences Biden has issued?
Oh, no, I haven't heard the total, but I know some people who are... I've heard of some people that they were going to pardon, even without a case.
I don't know if this is normal, but there were 39
Cough.
pardons
Really?
and 1,500 commuted sentences.
Really?
That's a lot. Look, is it a lot? I honestly, I don't know. Trump, okay, well, hang on. This is Trump granted 237 acts of clemency during his first term that included 143 pardons and 94 commuted sentences. So, okay, he had more pardons, but way less commuted sentences.
Mm-hmm. You know that some of those would be, special services people who were kind of caught up in something.
Sure. Oh,
found
yeah, I'm
guilty,
sure Yeah, there's all kinds of things.
I can imagine. But, is there a names list?
No, there's no names.
No, right.
Look, I'm sure there is somewhere, and it'll come out eventually. But it's interesting. Look, it's one of those things. If you're president or prime minister or the king or queen or whatever, there are things that you have to do or get done that you can't really tell anyone about or can't let anybody know about.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And you send people in to do these things for you. And if they get burned, they get killed, and it's over. But I think, to your point, there are a lot of these operators that do get special pardons or treatments or whatever, so that they can do these things again in the future, or other people will not feel discouraged from doing those things. Because if you go and do something and you get burned, and they just drop you like a hot potato,
that's right.
You have a hard time finding other people doing this stuff for you. It's just not going to happen. It's like, no, we're not going to do that. No, just do it. Just do it. No, you can't do it. No, just do it, please. Just do it. No, and I know you're gonna screw me some way. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, because what's it like from the movies? We'll deny all knowledge of you, right?
That's it.
Yeah. So
I don't know, Dave.
I heard some stupid stories, which I'm waiting to find out whether they're real or not. I don't know. But there was some stupid stories getting around with Fauci and Pelosi. And I don't know. I'm not even going to discuss and go any deeper than that, because I don't know. Unless there's verifiable evidence, like someone gives me a link and there it is, it's a government website and here's the documentation, like that list. Right? Surely someone will have the list of all the pardons. When I tried to find a list of all, in Australia, all of the laws that had been passed, I couldn't find it. It just, firstly I couldn't get to the website, right, to get them. But then it only gave me, like, news articles only gave me like the first 10 out of 35. It was useless. Even in this information age that we live in, that we should have the ability to see all the things that are out there. I believe in that. I'm not saying things that are, top secret. I don't want to see that. Puts a price on my head. I don't want that. And what I mean is, if the government is doing something, you should be able to see what it is. As a government, not military. You should never know where they are, what they're doing right now. I get that. But, it annoys me. And I don't want to be in trouble. Because I don't know. I'm talking about these stories are the possibility of pardons, people being on a list. And I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, time's running out. We've got 38 days, I suppose, in a way. Left.
Yeah.
And do you know what's really annoyed me though? Is when someone's leaving the role you're going to step into, and they just do a bunch of really stupid things. I don't know if it ever happened to you. This is talking to the listener. Right? But watching all the stuff that's currently going on in the US and the government who's exiting, like burning everything. I don't mean physically burning it. I mean doing all those airstrikes in Syria. Who voted for that? Did you vote for that, Maggie? I didn't vote for anything. Did any of the American voters vote for it? I don't think so. Hundreds of missile strikes over the weekend in Syria. So, doing that, they've just signed off another, was it 950 something billion going to Ukraine? I couldn't believe the amount. It's almost a trillion. Call it a trillion.
Oh yeah, I mean Biden knows that Trump is not going to give them anything.
That's
so
right.
He's going to get as much. He's going to get as much through as he can. In fact, the last I heard, I haven't seen the trillion. That seems like a lot. I don't think it's quite that much. But I know that they had 400 million still left on the ticket, and they would have a hard time spending it because that was approved, the 400 million by Congress, but they wouldn't be able to spend it in the time that Biden has left in office. They just wouldn't be able to. It's like physically not possible to spend that money, right?
That's right.
So I don't know. It's interesting, and I find it. Sorry, I also hadn't heard that the Americans had launched missile strike against Syria.
They took Yeah, no, there was Americans as well.
Yeah, really? Okay.
Yeah. They were hitting ISIS targets, and while Israel were hitting targets against Assad directly.
Yeah, actually, it's all of them: Israel, US, and Turkey.
There you go.
It's interesting, but I think they're all doing it separately. I think Israel is targeting the strategic weapons caches. US is targeting ISIS, and Turkey is targeting the Kurdish rebels. So everybody's got their own agenda.
Everyone's in. It's all in. Yeah. Everyone threw a punch, and that's what I think is crazy.
Well, I think it's human nature, and honestly, I'm not surprised at all because, like we said before, if the chips are down and you can get away with stuff, while everybody's looking somewhere else, guess what? You get away with stuff while everybody's looking somewhere else. That's what's happening here right now. So no, I'm not even a little surprised by any of this because that's what they do, Dave. That's what they do. That's all they do, all day long.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. My surprise is just that it was done. Biden all he had to do really is just, walk down the farm, walk down from the front gate to the farmhouse and sit there and do nothing. Because what else is there to do? Oh, and that's right. Spend every last cent you've got. Fill out all of the things that you just left behind. Get all the work done that you'd promised, but had kind of fallen by the wayside. Like if he's cleaning his office by doing this, well, that's kind of what I expected then. But he didn't have to.
Oh, I'm not. Yeah, but I fully expect him to do that. I mean, he's got a whole bunch of ideas, and Trump has got the exact opposite ideas of what he wants to do in many ways, right? Mm-hmm. So he wants to get everything that he can possibly do before President Trump takes office in January. I mean, again, it's a desperation. Oh, look, to some extent maybe, but we're seeing a shift. This will be a shift in the geopolitical power. The world stage is going to change. If Donald Trump does what he says he will do, and I have no doubt that he will, it will change the geopolitical landscape. And new players will emerge. And America will no longer hold the power it does. If Trump disengages, other things... See, nature and history and anyone abhors a vacuum. As soon as it's like you took Saddam Hussein away, right? But the only reason Iraq worked is because you had Saddam Hussein there. That's right. The only reason it worked. It's same with Yugoslavia. As soon as Tito died, it all fell apart. And you remove that, and in this case, if you remove the United States from the global stage actively, like no longer really participating very much, it will set the stage for a new order.
That's
whatever
right.
that is, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
It'll be something.
Because the vacuum there will someone else will step up. Yeah.
That's exactly what's going to happen. I don't really care, to be honest. Not really, because in the last 100 years, we had several, seismic shifts in global power, and none of it was good for the people. None of it was ever good for the people. So, it doesn't really make a difference for the people too much, because the power players, they're really worried about, themselves and what they can achieve and what they, have and don't have, and who their enemies are and who they have to eliminate, etc., etc. Whereas the people are sort of like an afterthought. No, we're doing it for the people. We really are. Yeah, that's good. that's so nice of you. Do it for the people. But that's where it is. So, and I suspect it won't be China necessarily that's stepping in. I think it might be BRICS. It might be some kind of
it'll be a coalition,
conglomeration.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it could be a conglomeration of nations together. So yeah.
Just so I remind everyone again, because the actions are our team's actions, we view it differently if they were someone else's actions.
Right.
And I think that's going to be it's going to reset people's minds about, you can't just be the world police, and if you step down and someone else is doing it and then you disagree with it. Even if they did exactly what you've done, you're not going to like it because someone else is doing it.
No, of course. 100%.
And not because someone else is doing it, but because they're doing what you did and you can't say anything.
That's right.
Could you imagine, just go back for the last 30 years and think, could you imagine if another country who might fill the void was doing what our team had done?
Oh, absolutely.
You'd be angry as hell.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
How dare you? How dare you?
Exactly. Stick your head into that. You shouldn't. No. So, this is my point is, should we have done it? Looking in hindsight, probably not. Whose interest? Well, it was our party's interest, our team's interest. And to what benefit? Was it benefiting any individual in that group? No. That's where I'm gonna leave it, because I don't want to get in trouble. I hate getting in trouble. And by the way, hello to our Rumble audience now. We've abandoned YouTube entirely, and I don't know how we're going to spend the first 2 cents that we've made. Mickey, we made 2 cents already.
I feel privileged and gratified.
That's the most money I've made in 8 months, but that's all right. So, happy days. Even sharing it with you. 1 cent. Making 1 cent is more than I've made since February. So, please do try to help us out. Like, share, subscribe, and comment. Anything you can do to support us. We have a Patreon as well. That's in the comments of the video, and look, do help, please help. Anyway, so what else was there? I mentioned, and we did the pardons, the drones, Syria. I'm maybe a little beside myself, Mecky, with all of the things going on. The fires, Mecky, the fires in Malibu.
Yes,
they're still happening.
It's yes they are. Which is odd. Anyway, maybe not. Maybe it's not odd. I don't know. I just think it's odd because this time of year we didn't really have fires there. From memory, of course there are always fires, but not to this extent. At least these are bad bushfires. What I'm seeing here. Yeah. The funny thing is this is where all the movie stars live. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's not funny, but
well, they're just cleaning. It was kind of like Hawaii, Mickey. They're just cleaning room for some more development. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, Dickman
that's part
share,
of the facetious nature of this show. Is, well, what can we say and what can we do and how can we laugh about it because it's so awful.
It's yeah, but again, this is really expensive real estate.
Yeah.
This is not cheap. This costs a significant amount of money, right? So yeah, it's certainly interesting to see that. And again, this is maybe it is for redevelopment. Who knows? Good luck to you. I say. If you want to redevelop, just do it. Just burn it all down. That's what they used to do in New York. Tenements. Just burn it down. And this old lady doesn't want to leave. Yeah, she's old. Well, yeah, absolutely. That's what. Well, I shouldn't say that because they come after me for defamation, but that's what certain slumlords in New York did. They burned down the entire building.
Wow.
So they could redevelop. Right. That's really it's common practice. I hate to say it, but it really is common practice amongst those folks, because it's usually in the poor neighborhoods, where redevelopment is a real thing, and all of a sudden you realize you're sitting in a gold mine, but you can't do anything because it's either rent protected or some other kind of restrictions. But once it burns down, it's burned down. Who's going to complain? It's all over, right? Right?
Yeah,
and a lot of real estate people. Yeah, a lot of real estate people made their money that way, and so certain residential families may be potentially tied to that. It's possible.
I couldn't hear you then. There was some kind of problem with the audio. So. yeah, that's right. That's what it was.
Keep saying that. No, but look again. This is a common practice, and not just in America. It's common practice in most countries. And just get rid of the poor people, and just just burn them out. They don't really count. This is when we talked about the medical experiments and Shining Side Out.
Yeah.
It is clear to you that these underprivileged people just don't matter. When I say underprivileged, I'm talking about the poorer people, the people that might have some kind of handicap or mental illness or something, right? People that can't speak themselves, essentially, right? They don't count, so they're just being abused. You need medical, subjects for your medical experiments. Sure, yeah, use those guys. No one cares about them anyway, so why not? Callous, yes, but true. It's exactly what happens in the world. And then everybody, throws their arms. No, what a terrible thing! Blah blah blah. Just please don't. Please don't. Inform yourself and become properly outraged. Do that. Don't be one of those, 5-minute outrages. I'm outraged for 5 minutes. Whew, I'm all spent. Oh, good Lord.
There's now, from what I understand, in New York, there's disturbing wanted posters targeting CEOs.
That's something we didn't talk about and should. Should be. Oh.
I don't know.
You know what? Yes. The assassination, and it was an assassination of the insurance CEO.
Yes.
And he was apparently on a salary of 10 million, in case you're wondering just how poor he was. And I used to work for an insurance company, believe it or not. Legal in General no longer exists. It's defunct, or someone bought it out. I don't know, whatever. Mm-hmm. And I was in the letter writing department. That's where I started. And we were, it was a common practice to just deny it out of hand, right? And the thought was, the idea. This was never officially communicated. This was never actually a policy, but everybody understood that's what we did. The theory was that if you just deny it, or just, and say no initially, for no good reason other than saying no, people would go away. And surprisingly, a large number of people did go away, never to be heard from. Not everybody, but a lot of them just, I guess I can't claim this thing. Completely unjustified and completely against the contract they actually had. So that's what the insurance companies do. That's how they make their money. So they give you a contract, and here's all the conditions. You're now insured against whatever they say you're insured against. Then something happens, and they will find every reason under the sun to not pay you.
That's
right. If they pay you, that's money out of their pocket. They don't want to pay you. They want to keep your money. It's like a casino. The casino lets you in under the premise that you could win, right?
Knowing you'll lose.
But but you know what happens if let's say you're really lucky one day and you don't have a system, you're not cheating, but you're really lucky. They will take you into a room and beat you anyway and take the money that you want because they just can't handle big winnings unless you're like high flyer.
They'll hover over you in the lightest case and say, I think it's time that you wrap this up.
100%.
Yeah.
And in fact, that's exactly what's happening with insurance companies. Insurance companies have no interest at all in paying out your claims. None. Why? That's their money as far as they're concerned. They're not going to pay out anything. Go away. A lot of people do. So now this was worse because this is a medical. He was the CEO of a medical insurance.
That's right.
Medical
healthcare.
The healthcare part. So if you deny a claim there, it could lead to people actually dying, potentially, which I think is what might have happened in this case, because this was clearly a very personal thing, to the point where the apparently or allegedly the assassin, let's call him the assassin, edged words into the bullet casings before he shot him, and these words were deny the trash or something. Essentially,
that's right.
It's the process they followed to not pay you. But yeah, are there more? Are there going to be more copycats? I don't know. But there's an undercurrent in America right now that thinks that guy did the right thing. Now, this is where America is right now in its mind. Well, not everybody, mind you, but that's where America is in its head. Headspace is what this guy did, that's a good thing. That's something that should happen. And there's like this undercurrent. I think it's an undercurrent. I think it's a raging river because of where we are, and how everybody's feeling the cost of living. And I mean, America's having the worst drug epidemic ever. And this is like soccer moms. And we've spoken about this. This is bad. America is in a bad state.
Yeah.
And this assassination, is this the right thing? Look, honestly, I don't think so. I don't think, because I mean, ultimately, then, if either we live in a law-bound society or we do not, right? So we have a choice here. We can live in a society that is governed by laws, even though these laws might be unfair and they probably don't apply to everybody, but it gives you a modicum of safety and security. It does, right? And you've got some recourse, or at least you think you do. Whereas if you take that away, then it's everyone for himself, right? That's I don't think. See, people don't think it through. People think, oh, how cool it would be if it was anarchy and everything, all the systems broke down. If you pick up 000 and you really need it, or in America 911, and no one answers, because that's a consequence of anarchy and everything falling apart. That's a bad situation to be in. That's not good. That's not fun at all. Actually, the point is driven home by in a Die Hard movie. I can't remember which Die Hard movie it was, but there was a hacker in it, and he said to Bruce Willis, it's a fire sale. What do you mean? He says, Bruce Willis it is. And he goes, well, everything must go. So the terrorists took out, I think, the energy grids and communications, etc., like via computer viruses. Anyway, everything must go. But now, while in someone's mind that might sound really cool and like a really interesting thing, in reality, it is horrendous and horrific chaos, and it'll cause death and destruction, and it's not good. These things are never good. There's no good, all right? The only people that have any chance of surviving it moderately untouched are the super rich. They're okay. Doesn't matter what. See, this is the funny thing, Dave. The more I think about it, the more I realize the super rich, they really don't care at all. They have no care. The only thing they care about is to stay where they are and make sure as few people as possible make it to their level. That's what I think they do. But yeah, brother, it's the music.
The end of the show is what it is.
Jeez, hopefully you enjoyed it, everybody.
Yeah, it's been another Plato's Cave, and we'll catch you on Sunday for a Shiny Side Out with Dave and Mackie. In the meantime, watch something really cool. And Mackie, what do we advise?
Always be safe.